Hi, I'm Carrie and welcome to my channel. Today's video is Tarot De-Influenced. Do we really need every tarot trend that we see online? In this video, I'm letting the cards weigh in on some of the popular tarot trends that are talked about often, and I'm going to be pulling I'm going to be doing, I should say, a 3 card reading to see if I really need that trend in my life. This video is all just tongue-in-cheek. It's all just for fun. I'm not saying that any of these trends are bad in any way. You do you. It doesn't matter to me. So I just want to put that out front. The whole reason this video came about was I was watching a video that was talking about the fall trends, and it was about de-influencing the fall trends. And do we really need those chunky sweaters or a new chunky sweater when we already have 5 others? Or do we really need to have only these certain fall colors because they're the hot fall colors of this year? And, do we really need the pumpkin, what is it, Le Creuset, baking dish instead of just a regular round baking dish or whatever? That's really why this video idea came about, because I just watched this the other day. I can't even share the video because I thought I put it in my saved and it's not there. And I'm pretty sure these tarot trends have been talked about numerous different times throughout the years that I've been here or around TarotTube. Everything ebbs and flows, goes in cycles, that sort of thing. So let's get on to it. One of the first tarot trends that sticks out to me is a deck for every reason and every season. I need a deck for my romance readings, and I need a deck for interpersonal readings, and I need another deck because this one makes me feel good and happy. When you have all these decks in your collection, then does it become a sense of overwhelm? And then instead of having 1 or 2 decks or just a small handful of decks in your collection that you get to know very well and inside and out, and therefore that deck can do any reading for you, you're spreading your energy thin across all these other decks to fit into certain categories, because we have amassed such a collection that we need to categorize these decks in order to justify them being in our collection, or in order to find uses for them in our collection. And I am one who has wholeheartedly jumped into that trend, because when I found TarotTube 6 or 7 years ago, I had a collection of 90 plus decks, not over 100 though. And now 6 or 7 years later, I have a collection of like 250, 230, somewhere around in there. So yeah, I've fallen into that trend hard. So I thought it would be fun. Let's pull some cards to see, do I really need this trend in my life? Do I really need a deck for every reason, for every season, for everything? So our first card is going to be, what is at the heart of this trend? What energy does this trend actually bring into my life? So our first card for me is the Queen of Cups. So what energy does this trend bring into my life? So I may be viewing all these different decks, and I know I view them this way. I may be viewing all these different decks as, okay, well, this strikes this intuitive, chord in me, and this one brings out this intuitive energy, or whatever that vibe may be that I am looking for. And it helps spark my intuition in a different way. And I feel maybe an emotional connection to the decks because of that, and because the way it reads for me in a specific style of reading that I may be doing with that deck, that just hits in such a right way and enhances my intuition so much that I automatically put it into that category, and then that's where it stays. So let's pull a second card. Do I really need it? Is it genuinely supportive or just hype? So it's the Justice card. Do I genuinely need the deck? No, not really. With the Justice card, maybe I really need to start weighing the pros and cons more when it comes to purchasing some of these decks, when it comes to bringing some more into my collection for whatever reason. I'm needing to find a better way to justify what I'm bringing in and to really look at what I've got. And then the third card for this is the aligned path. Where should I focus instead? Or how can I make this fit into my practice authentically? So where should I focus instead? I'm going to take that card there. The Magician, I think this is a perfect card for this position. Where should I focus more? I need to just focus on the tools that I have, maybe not acquiring new tools, but I also feel that this is about focusing on me and my energy and my intuition and my abilities, where I can pull any of those things out of one or two decks. It doesn't have to be 250 decks. I mean, because that's honestly the truth. 1, 2 decks is going to fill the what you need to do any type of reading with. But I think this is a reminder that I need to remember that magic comes from within me, not from within the deck, and that my intuitive abilities come from within me, not from within the deck. I really liked the way that this played out. So let's talk about our next trend. So while we're on the topic of deck trends, let's talk about deck mods. Do I really need to modify the deck that I have? Is it going to make it better for me? I have done some modifications. I never thought of really modifying a deck until I found Tarot Tube. Most of my modifications are just the edging. Like I did this Light Seers Tarot. I edged it in this really pretty, like bluish, a little bit of a hue of a green to it, and it matches the box so well. And I don't mind this. This deck trend doesn't bother me modifying when it comes to edging. I have done modifications though, where I turned an oracle into my own oracle. This was the Starseed Tarot by Rebecca Campbell. And I cut all the titles off and stamped my own meanings on here. If you happen to watch in my tarot tag that I did, and I showed my antique anatomy, and I heavily modified that with, stickers and grunging it up a little bit. And I modified tarots into oracle and so on. I do find though that when I cut the decks down, and I found this on a couple decks, that it almost makes them impossible to shuffle, where I thought it would make it better for them to shuffle. So it has to be, I'm not a cardstock person, so it has to be something with the fibers of the cardstock that once you cut it, it alters it in some way. Because one deck became unusable for me. I can't remember the name of it now. I have it, it's under my bed. But I could not shuffle it at all after I cut it up, after I cut the borders and that off of it. So is deck modding a thing or a trend that I need to continue? Is it something that is adding something to my practice, or is it just frustrating me? Let's see what the reading is for this trend. What energy does deck modding bring to my practice? Is this supporting my practice, or is this just a hype for the moment? Oh, here we got the Magician again. Where should I be focusing instead? Or how can I make this trend authentic to my practice? As soon as the Devil card came out, I hear devil's in the details. That's exactly what I heard. Okay, so let's see. The heart of the trend. With the Knight of Wands, I get, oh, this is cool. This is a fun thing to do. This is, exciting, where you're changing a deck and you're making it your own. That's what I'm getting with that Knight of Wands energy. Is it supportive of my practice, or is it just like hype? The Magician, I don't see this as really being a supportive energy to my practice. I mean, I know that the Magician has, it's a tool. So the tool is what's supporting my practice, not necessarily the pretty edges that are supporting my practice. And where should I focus instead? How to make it authentic? Again, what I feel with this, as far as where should I focus instead, I almost feel like this is telling me that I'm just doing it because others are doing it with this devil card here, especially since he has his um, strings attached to this person. So I don't know about making it how it's authentically fitting, I should say, into my practice. But I do like a pretty edge, although it doesn't really do anything for the reading, and I'm all about the reading. So that was interesting how this one played out. So the next trend that I'm going to mention is the tarot aesthetic. You know, the ones that have the picture perfect Instagram accounts, beautiful cards on the table, beautiful combinations, all the extra little things sprinkled around the cards that just make the picture magical almost. Or even those of us who do the YouTube videos where we have certain mats or certain little trinkets in that are laid out here in our space to make it more aesthetically pleasing as we're here rambling on about our cards. So how necessary is this tarot aesthetic? And am I trying to live up to that tarot aesthetic? I can give that answer before I even pull the cards. I don't post on Instagram often my own readings. I do post about my upcoming videos, but one of the reasons that I don't post on there a lot is because it's a lot for me to have to sit and pose the cards in a certain way, make sure all my stuff is laid out, take the picture, make sure the right lighting, and then post it when I'm just wanting to post about my cards or my card pulls. So I don't post. Honestly, I don't. I don't really post a lot about that because I'm mostly pulling my cards while I'm sitting on my couch, and that's not Instagram worthy. It would just be a gray background, but that's mostly where I'm pulling my cards or I'm doing my, morning readings or whatever. Sometimes I'll come in here and sit in this space, but if I just want a quick morning card pull, that's where I'm at. And like I said, that's not Instagram worthy. So let's look into this aesthetic for me. Do you feel that you need to live up to that type of aesthetic, like when you're posting things online or sharing things in whatever group or whatever social media platform that works for you? Okay, so what does the trend of having Instagram worthy pictures, what does that do for my practice? What energy does it bring actually to my practice? Exhaustion. That's what it brings. While that trend kind of leans into my creative side, because we got the Page of Cups here. So while that trend kind of leans into my creative side, because I like to be a creative person, I also feel it creatively exhausting where trying to come up with that perfect layout or whatever to post on social media. So, like I said, it looks Instagram worthy. Card number 2. Do I really need this trend? Do I really need it? Is it supporting me in any way, or is it just noise? The Two of Pentacles. Maybe this is about weighing my options because as a content creator, putting out an aesthetically pleasing picture of a reading could be beneficial. But at the same time, is it really supporting me and my needs and what my practice is, which I know for a fact is a no. But yeah, maybe this is, I just need to do it sometimes and not all the time. Post some regular pictures, but post some pretty pictures too. Maybe I could see that. For our third card, the alignment, where should I focus instead? Or how can I make this trend, tarot aesthetics, work authentically for me? How can I make this work authentically for me? Well, this Three of Cups, I could see this as leaning into, support from friends. But I could also see this in regards to my practices. Look to see what my friends are posting, look to see what maybe some of my favorite accounts are posting, how they're posting, and not to necessarily live up to that, but see if they have a better balance of, reality versus aesthetics kind of thing. That's kind of how I'd see that. I ain't gonna jump on this trend anyway. It's not happening for me. It's not something that I care that much about. I mean, I'm gonna make this look pretty for you while I'm on camera, but it's not like one of my, you know, it's nothing I give two thoughts about. Let's put it that way, unless I'm here on camera. Let's talk about the trend of, is it necessary to have the perfect tarot notebook with the perfect entries and the perfect style of journaling and the perfect pens, or can we just use a plain old composition notebook? This gets the job done too. May not look as pretty as this one, but still gets the job done. It saddens me when I see people post on social media that they don't want to ruin their notebook, so therefore they never write in their notebook. It's just paper. Scribble in it, write in it, make blotches in it, paint in it. Just take a pen and scribble all over it. It's just a notebook. And guess what? There's another notebook out there that's probably exactly like it that you could pick up if you feel that you ruined the first one. I really think that if we get out of our heads that tarot journaling wouldn't feel maybe like such a chore to some people, because I'm sure it does, especially if they're trying to make their notebooks look a certain way or be aesthetically pleasing, which goes back to that tarot aesthetics just a moment ago. So I think your notebook really needs to be whatever fits your life. And while the trends are all the different styles and the different papers and the different pens and that are used, again, you do what works for you. For me, I have a mixture of both, um, where I like things to look like this, but this is stuff that I've created. And I like just a plain old notebook where I can scribble down whatever I want to scribble down in here and not be concerned. But I use smaller notebooks now, like for those brain dumps and that, where I don't have to worry about what it looks like because I don't care. I have been keeping a tarot journal of some kind for 20 years, and I don't even have all of them anymore. So I think that's something else to think about, is how long is this staying with you? Is it something that you have bookshelves full of that, yeah, you're going to keep and look back on and, reference forever? Or is this just for a season and then you're done with it? I let go of several of my old tarot notebooks from years ago. I sat down, pulled a bunch out. Most of them were in the like composition or spiral ring notebooks. And I looked through them. I looked at the readings. I'm like, this doesn't even make sense to me anymore. I don't understand what any of this is. And I threw them away. I tore them up and I threw them away. The one that I really did keep was my very first one, where I was learning and exploring and trying new things and working with different energies at the time. And I really held on to that one because I like referencing back to that every now and then just to see, where I started. But the rest of them I've let go. I only have the ones that I've used probably in the past six years or 7 years. All the ones prior to that are gone now. So is it a necessity, if I'm going to let things like that go, to have a certain style of notebook because that happens to be, what's on trend? So let's see what the reading says. What energy does having a fancy notebook for my tarot actually bring to my practice? Let's go with the Tower. And do I really need this trend? Should I be focusing somewhere else, or how can I make this work for me? Look at that. 3 majors. So this tells me that the trend is not needed in my life anyway. But I'm a creative person, and so to be able to journal in different ways, I enjoy that. But it's not about making my journal look like other people's journals. It's journaling in the form that is best for me. Okay, so the heart of the trend. What energy is this really bringing to my practice with the tower? It's not bringing anything to my practice. Matter of fact, maybe this tower is telling me that it's deconstructing the practice that I originally built and causing me to have to start fresh all over again, which this actually fits what I did 2 years ago. I had found that my tarot journals were starting to not look like me any longer. They were falling into what I was seeing on other tarot channels, what I was seeing being created, readings that I was seeing people doing. And my practice no longer looked like me. It was someone else. I would even go back and look at those journals and I'd be like, what is this? I don't do these type of readings. This isn't really where my energy and my practice sits. So I understand exactly what this tower is representing. Do I really need it? Is this trend really supporting me in some way? Or is it just noise? I need to really figure out what I'm aligned to. Maybe this is telling me that I need to stick with my traditional ways of doing things that I've always done them because that's what worked for me. That's what helped keep me in alignment. Maybe that's what helped me to level up in some way or to stay connected in some way is by doing it the way I've always done it. And then finally, the alignment. Should I focus? Where should I focus instead? Or how can I make this authentically work for me? I think the moon here is telling me not to fall into that delusion that I need to do all that or I need to have all the specific pretty things for my notebook. I can use what I have on hand and arrange it however I choose to arrange it that is authentically me, and not to maybe drown myself in all the new things or the new ways that people are doing things. So I like this reading. And the final trend that I am going to talk about are the daily card pulls, the shadow work, the inner child work, the whole thing about the different types of spreads or the different ways that you should be reading with your tarot cards, or if you do this, this is going to make you a better reader, and pulling a daily card is supportive of your practice and helps you learn the cards better. And this is nothing against anybody that does that. I don't care who does what. This is about looking and figuring out what is supportive for you, or is it just a trend that you're doing because you think if I don't do this, then I'm not a full rounded tarot reader. If I don't start doing shadow work, am I really well rounded in my tarot practice? If I'm not looking into my inner child and checking on, those that baggage or those demons that come along with that time of my life and the suppression that may be happening, am I really a well-rounded reader? And how can I adapt my readings to someone else that may need inner child work? Boy, that was long-winded. But anyway, that's what this trend or this question is about. Do we really need all those different aspects of the tarot, and the different style readings in order to become these well-rounded, knowledgeable readers in some way? Like shadow work, for example, I probably didn't dive into that until about 7 or 8 years ago. And do I do it every year? Do I feel the need to do shadow work every time fall season comes around? No. Do I feel that if I'm not doing shadow work in the fall season, that somehow I'm selling myself short and my practice short and everything else? No. I mean, sometimes I don't want to dive into those things. Is this just a trend, or is this something that I really need to keep in my practice? because I stopped daily card pulls a very, very long time ago. Okay, so what's at the heart of the trend of all these different types of readings you should be doing in your practice? Okay, card number 2, is this trend supporting me in my practice in some way? Is all right, let's take this one. And the aligned path, where should I be focusing instead? Or should I be making this trend work for me? Oh, I love this reading. Okay, so what energy is this trend actually bringing to my practice? So I can see this a couple ways. With the Fool card here, I can see that this trend brings me back to my roots, takes me all the way back to the beginning, saying, remember where you started? This is where you started. Remember how you were learning. That's all well and good, but I find that boring now. Like daily card draws are boring to me. So I do keep a deck out and I'll pull from it several times a week, but I don't journal it. I don't do anything with it. I just pull the card to see what the card is, kind of thing. Um, but maybe this is a trend for more of those people who are just beginning, who are just learning, who are just jumping off and starting this journey, especially the daily card. As far as the shadow work goes, maybe this is telling me that it's something that brings me back into myself, brings me back to, like I said a moment ago, my roots and all of that. With the Fool, back to the beginning. Do I really need it? Is this supporting me, or is this supporting my practice? The King of Pentacles. So that could represent like rooting into my practice. He's very um, grounded in his ideas and perspective of what he has going on. So maybe some of those trends, like the shadow work or inner child work, can help me ground into my practice more. Maybe that's what this means. And then the alignment of, should I focus somewhere else, or how can I make this work authentically? With the Ace of Cups, I feel like this is telling me I need to do what feels right. I need to do what feels right in my heart space, is bringing energy to that I'm feeling like I really love and enjoy and want to dive into. And that's how it can support me if I choose to do it. So I don't feel like this is one that I should like slough off and not do at all, but maybe do like I kind of do it now, where only when I'm feeling the urge or the need to do it, and it's not something that I have to do on a regular basis. So I think this little 3-card spread, especially if you are feeling bogged down or you are feeling like you are trapped in these trends, or you feel like you are working so hard to keep up with the community that is changing constantly. It's changing at the snap of a finger. With a new deck, a new practice comes in with the next trend that started, then that's what you see, and it can become very overwhelming, especially for someone who's just learning, or someone who's only a year or two into their practice, and they're trying to mold it and figure out what's working for them, and how they could best learn, and so on. And when you get pulled into some of the trends, like decks for every reason, or the having to mod a deck to bond to it, or the perfect notebook, or the aesthetics and all of that, it becomes more about what's outside than what's inside. And I think, like I said, this little 3-card reading, the heart of it, what does it actually bring? What does the trend bring to your practice? The need of it, is it really supportive, or is it just creating noise? And the alignment, is this where you should be focused? Or, do you really need to be focused somewhere else? I think it's a great way to check in with yourself and to see how things are working for you. Let me know in the comments below, do you hop on any of these trends? Have you gotten sucked into something that you found just didn't end up working for you, and then there you had to deconstruct everything in order to get your practice back on track? Do you think that you would do like a 3 card spread like this in order to keep you in alignment with yourself and your practice? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to chat with you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you being here. You know, all the YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe, that kind of stuff. And until I see you next time, bye.